My name is Emma Millions. I'm a writer, development producer and a director. I always knew I wanted to work in the film and TV industry. I didn't know what I wanted to do or how you do that, but I always wanted to see my name up on the screen in the credits at the end of a TV show or a film. I always loved telling stories and reading stories and just inhaling stories. And I wrote from a very young age. I was a working class girl from a very small town in Devon, and I didn't know anyone in the industry. I didn't really even understand that there was an industry. I had no one to help me. But what I did know is I wanted to do this. So I started to make films myself when I was 15 years old. In those days, we didn't have mobile phones with amazing cameras or computers with editing software. We had VHS cameras, but they were very expensive and very big. So I found a Super 8 camera in a charity shop, taught myself how to work it, and started running around on the streets of Torbay, where I come from, making crazy short films with my friends. And then I wanted an audience, so I started showing those films in me and my friends' lounges and then at my school. And it seemed like people liked these short films. Then I found out that you could study film and TV when I was applying for university. We had very few courses back in those days. In fact, I think there were 2. But after I found that out, I knew that's what I was going to do. So I applied to the 2 courses and got accepted to one of them. The best thing for me about studying film, and I think most people find this, is the people you meet and the access to equipment. All film schools and film courses, of course, have kit and you have access to it. It's available to you. And when I was on my film degree, I made way more films outside of the school than I did for my course. And then I discovered that there was a thing called the London underground scene, which was a place where you could show your movies at clubs and in groups and in communities full of like-minded people who also wanted to show their films. And that was a huge amount of fun and a great way of finding an audience. But not also finding an audience, you found other filmmakers, and that meant other people to make films with. And that's the thing, you can't make films on your own. You need to find your tribe. Filmmaking is really, really hard, and you can't really do it on your own for long unless you want to stay in a kind of art film space. So you need to find your team. You need to find the people in your life that share your goals and who want to make stuff with you. Through being part of these clubs, I met a TV producer who gave me my first job as a researcher on a Channel 4 show called Takeover TV. This show showed lots of clips from crazy amateur filmmakers, and some of those filmmakers went on to become big names in the industry. People like Edgar Wright, Adam Buxton and Joe Cornish. But I had a lot of fun researching for that show, and I even ended up presenting it. And this was because I had lots of connections in the underground film world, so I could bring on a lot of clips, and I was a filmmaker myself. So by the time I left university, I already had experience in factual television and a substantial portfolio of films I'd made and places that they had been seen. So I would say meeting people, joining events, become part of groups and communities and clubs, whether they're online or in person, getting yourself out there, telling everyone what it is you want to do. That's the key to starting a career or getting yourself out there. Opportunity is literally everywhere. You just have to find it. Because of my Takeover TV job, I got approached by a scheme run by Carlton Television, which was one of the regional London broadcasters at the time. They ran this scheme for up-and-coming filmmakers. There was a group of 8 of us, and we were given an hour of television a week, which it was up to us how we filled it with short films on any subjects, from documentaries to dramas to covering gigs, whatever we wanted. And I started making comedy sketches, and that's when I realised that that's what I want to do. I want to write comedy. Through that realisation, I then blagged myself a job in the comedy department doing something called development. Now, I'd never heard of development before, but as it turns out, there's a job where you can get paid to sit around and come up with ideas and then figure out how to make those ideas happen. I thought that was amazing, and it's still something I do now. Development is one of my favourite things in the world. If you're someone with a ton of ideas and you love storytelling and you can be creative about how to bring those ideas to screen, development is something I'd highly recommend. Whilst doing my development job, I met a lot of producers, and so I made it known that I was looking for writing work on a TV show. And one of those producers was making a show with a little known duo called Ant and Dec. It was going to be a kids' TV show to showcase these boys who had been on a drama series called Biker Grove. This show needed women writers as they didn't have any, and women writers were very, very underrepresented at the time, and female comedy writers were really hard to find. So I went home that weekend and wrote a huge amount of sketches and sent them to the producer and got hired. So that was the beginning of my writing career. Through that, I was able to get an agent, and my agent got me lots of work writing for children's television, and that's a really great place to learn your craft if you want to be a writer. It's a very tight discipline, it's very demanding. Children are a great audience, but they are also very demanding. You need a high level of jokes, they don't let anything get past them. But it was brilliant, and writing on kids shows and sketch shows, and I started getting work and was able to live as a writer. But writing is very difficult to maintain as a sole source of income. So I also continued to do TV development work for various broadcasters and independent companies. Also, writing can be slow, and you can have one idea and it can take you weeks or months and years to get that idea anywhere near an audience. With TV development, you can get ideas out every single day, pitch them. It's wonderful. And one of the reasons I feel like I've managed to stay as a paid worker in the industry for so long is because I don't just do one thing. I diversified very early on, and that is the advice I always give to people who want to start in this industry. Don't just be one thing, do multiple jobs, learn multiple skills. The industry is very fickle and it has its ups and downs. It's a relative roller coaster, and sometimes your writing work will completely dry up, and then you can do your development work, or if you know how to be a crew member, you can do that. And then other times my development work will dry up, but then I can go back to being a writer. So diversifying has kept me employable and employed, which is always a great position to be in. I've written feature films, sitcoms, sketch shows, voiceover scripts, adverts, corporate videos, documentary scripts, stage shows, stand-up comedy, the list goes on. I've written for every major broadcaster in the UK, for individuals, for production companies, for branded companies. I've written ideas that have never gone anywhere. I've written many ideas that have never gone anywhere, but no idea is ever wasted. I find that ideas often come back to life when they may have been dead for 10, 15 years, but suddenly everyone's looking for that idea you had years ago. So I always think keeping an ideas database as a creative is a really good idea. Write down every idea you've had, what happened to it, did you do anything with it, who did you send it to, and then you can go back over that if you suddenly find yourself in a position to pitch. You can have a look back and see what ideas you've got languishing at the bottom of the list that might get a new lease of life. But also, you always need to be thinking of the next idea, the new idea, looking around you, seeing what ideas are coming out, what films people are connecting to, and then try and guess what they'll be connecting to in a year's time, in 2 years' time. It's a real challenge. So now I have a wonderful job doing factual development for a very small production company, which gives me a huge amount of freedom. We probably pitch around 5 ideas a week to channels and branded companies. And in order to get to these 5 ideas, we probably have to generate around 20. And we do that every single week. And out of all those ideas, between 3 and 5 get commissioned, which sounds soul destroying. But like I say, ideas tend to come back and float around until they're useful. And, you know, they're always fun. If you are someone who constantly comes up with ideas, and that's me, you know, even on the journey over here, I'm sitting thinking of ideas, then, you know, there's going to be a place for you in the industry. And also if you're someone who can turn those ideas into films or TV shows, if you can make them happen, you'll also find a place in the industry. Equally, if you can inspire people to come up with ideas, then there'll be a place for you in the industry. There's a place for everyone, and you don't necessarily have to be the creative, the ideas person, the writer. There's pretty much a job for everyone in this industry. You just got to figure out what your place is. All my old filmmaking skills I get to use now in my TV development job. I have to do things like create pitch decks, which is like a booklet, an online booklet that showcases your idea with pictures and words. And then I make something called a sizzle tape for those ideas, which is a little film basically that proves the concept of your idea, that shows it off to its best and can convince the commissioners, the people with the money, to take a chance on your idea. So every week I get to sit around, watch TV and films for research, come up with ideas, write them up in creative brochures and documents, and make tapes that showcase them. It's my dream job, and I sometimes still can't believe my luck. For the last few years, I've also become a teacher of writing and filmmaking in film schools, which is a job I love. Teaching people and sort of critiquing other people's ideas, and hundreds of ideas from my students, has taught me to figure out what's wrong with my own ideas. Also, you know, hearing that vast amount of ideas, you start to learn which ideas are old and how very few brand new ideas there really are. And trying to figure out how to make a new take on these old ideas is basically a lot of my job. But also I've learned a lot about the challenges young people face getting to the industry today, how different their lives are to what mine was like when I was at film school, and also a lot about technology and vernacular and what young people are watching and how they consume content, which has been eye-opening. I've also seen a lot of students get together and make films themselves, and I can always tell the students who are going to do well and get on in the industry, and it's the ones who are doing this, who are making films happen, the ones who are passionate, who want to learn, who ask questions. Those are the ones that I know are going to do well. And they've always been making projects themselves for a while. Nobody knows anything is a big mantra in this industry, and it's true. It's an ever-changing industry. Nobody saw Netflix coming, but it did, and it changed the way the industry is, and probably forever. Content is now needed in a vast amount more than it was previously, and the streaming services and new content providers are willing to look outside the box and find new and different people to provide their content. So I feel like there is a revolution happening right now in TV and film that's challenging the big boys, the Hollywood blockbusters making superhero franchises and, you know, epic movies. And I feel like it's a time to embrace that, and it's very, very exciting. So my advice to you would be, make things, have fun, find like-minded people to help you making things, get yourself out there, don't wait for it to come to you. Resilience positivity, creativity, determination, and a love of instability and change. I would start making things, and I would also start looking for the right film course for you. You don't strictly need qualifications, but the best qualification you could probably get is a film degree. Income varies wildly, but you can earn a lot of money once you've put the work in. Any work experience in a media-related place will be useful, but any kind of work experience in any kind of job, from banks, hotels, shops, will show that you're a professional person that can thrive in a professional environment. Long-term career prospects can be anything you want them to be, from producer, director, executive producer to full-time writer. You need to decide what it is you want to do and figure out how to do it. This job can lead to anything, whatever you want it to. It can lead to academia, it can lead to science, it could lead to becoming an author. Whatever it is you want to do, it could lead to. This career offers a huge amount of freedom. You can get to chop and change and do many different things. There's quite a bit of downtime. So yes, it's a very freeing career. If you're in London, then the Film London website is excellent. They have regular schemes and competitions for up-and-coming filmmakers, and they'll tell you what's being made. They have a lot of screenings and events too, when we're not in a pandemic, where you'll be able to meet like-minded people. If you subscribe, they will send you weekly emails with all kinds of interesting information. The BFI website is also excellent. There's a lot of info about training and funding, and it showcases all the amazing films being made in the UK. They also have an incredible archive that is worth checking out. Shooting People is a community of filmmakers and is a very valuable networking tool. It costs money to join, but you can subscribe for free and get their emails, which will give you an idea of what is being filmed in the UK and the sorts of projects that newbie filmmakers are creating. The Blacklist in America is a list of unproduced scripts that producers think are the best that are in circulation. It's an important guide of what ideas are popular and the kind of stories that people are looking for. It also has an excellent writing blog called Go Into the Story, which has lots of incredible and useful information about what scripts are being bought, who's writing what, and has initiatives to help you with your writing. Raindance is a UK version of Sundance, which is a big film festival in the US. Raindance have their own festival, but are mostly a kind of film school. They have all sorts of courses available, from super short courses to full-on degrees. You can do volunteer work for them, which, although is unpaid, means you get to meet a lot of like-minded people, and it's something impressive to put on your CV. It's an amazing life, it's an amazing career, it's incredibly hard, but if you have to do it, you have to do it, and only do it if you have to do it.